And I mentioned before those fisheyes, and there were quite a lot.
Once again, in the excitement of it all, I didn't even get dressed properly.
I'm just going to rub over those to mainly take off the pop. This calls for a celebratory and cheers moment. So now that I've got a bit of experience with using the new product, once again, very, very pleased and impressed with this AWLwood product. Well, I tell you what, the Sunny Coast is living up to its name. The last final coats for this last batch of panels. Nearly there, folks, nearly there. And I mentioned before those fisheyes, and there were quite a lot, and they seem to have largely disappeared. It really is looking a lot better. I can't really see many of those fisheyes at all. So that's great news. It is looking so much better, people. I've got 5 panels laid out, which is basically half of the panels, and I am into it.
Once again, in the excitement of it all, I didn't even get dressed properly. Now, for that second coat that is on, I had got the proper respirator mask instead of the P2 chemical mask, but I didn't get my pants and my socks on either. So now I have all the PPE on. Well, it's the morning after, and I am pleased. This is going to work. This is going to give me exactly what I wanted. I'm very pleased with it. There are some little defects, and initially I thought it was contamination giving fisheyes, but on closer inspection, it's actually pop, which is the solvent evaporating out, and it causes a little bubble. I've been in touch with the reps about the product and how it's come out. I've already been in contact with them this morning. I've taken some pictures, sent it to them, and got some great answers back. So getting rid of most of those should be no problem at all. Just a case of sanding those panels lightly with 240 grit, and then satin coat down, and then the final satin top coat. So yesterday the panels have had a dust coat, a medium to heavy first coat, and then a second medium to heavy coat. This morning they really have come up well, as I showed earlier, and so now what I'll be doing with 240 grit, which is a fine grit, I'm just going to rub over those to mainly take off the pop where the solvent has just sort of evaporated through the coat. Otherwise just etch it a little bit for the next follow-up coat, which is the satin coat. I'm looking forward to that. These look so good. You might be able to see in the sun here. That is just screaming out rosewood. Look at me. It is so damn nice. And the beach, of course. The other thing I'm going to do is just a recommendation from the rep who I spoke with this morning.
I will use the wax and grease remover just to maybe help with any of those little fish eyes and those blemishes and get them looking great. This calls for a celebratory and cheers moment. It's worked. That was the last coat. These are now done. A cheers moment. Oh, they look so good, and they're actually getting better as the time goes on, which I was actually told would be the case, and it is. You're probably tired of me saying it, but these 5 panels, this is exactly the look I wanted, and oh, can you tell that I'm happy? Well, looks like we're back to rain here on the Sunshine Coast. Pressing ahead though, in speaking with the rep, basically what they said was 24 hours is enough in order to be able to walk on these. They will cure further over several days, but they said basically after 48 hours you can even put things on top of them without causing indentations. Another thing to mention is that after the first coat, I just noticed particularly this panel, there's, where is it? It's even hard to see, there's, oh here, there's just a little area here and here where it's like somebody's got a pin and just pricked it. They're slightly raised. Again, speaking to the good rep, and a shout out to Aaron, thank you very much. It looks like that could be anything really. Could be dust in the air, it could be a little bit of residue from the rag that I used, which I don't think that's the case. It was 100% cotton. But the short story is, who cares? It's just so minor. The other thing is, when rubbing my hand over the panels, I can feel just the most minuscule little raised bits, but I can't see them. Like, try as you can, you can't actually see them, but you can only just feel them. So once again, Aaron has suggested just to use spray painter's brown paper on the rough surface and just rub over them. I actually haven't done this, so this is the first test that I'm doing, and let's see how that goes. He said to just rub it like a block of sandpaper. See how that feels compared to here. Yeah, okay, so I can feel the difference for sure. Who would have thought? Brown paper. I need to put that insertion rubber on top of the hull floors where the panels will sit. So I'll take the panels into Mistress, but before I actually sit them where they're going to be permanently sitting, I will go ahead and just put some insertion rubber on top of the hull floors, which is a fairly quick job. now that I've got a bit of experience with using the new product, it's on to the other half of the panels. I've pretty much done just over halfway, so I have 4 panels left. As I'm learning more about using this product, what I've arrived at, which I think does work well, is once they're prepared, a very light dust coat, leave that for about 15 minutes, approximately 1 hour later, a medium to heavy coat, followed by a second medium to heavy coat, and that seems to come up well. It actually seems to have helped with a lot of different things with the other panels, so I'll do the same here.
Just when it was needed. Ghosted in injustice dead. And in the eyes of time, nobody's losing. Spirals will be here by dawn. When we find this over, they'll be gone. The trees will bloom and ice will melt. We'll always remember how it felt.
It's the day after having put the gloss coats on these last 4 panels and satisfied. Once again, very, very pleased and impressed with this AWLwood product. It really is good. As you'll see, there's very little fish eyes and pop contamination on the panels. This was easier to put down with a bit of experience that I've got following those bits of advice, and I really have ended up with a great outcome. Well, I tell you what, this sunny coast is living up to its name in the last few days. Today's day 3 of just perfect, picture perfect weather. And so now it's on to the last final coats for this last batch of panels. Nearly there, folks, nearly there. It'll be the same process. A quick sand with 240 grit, just fine, just to etch that coating. A vacuum down, a wipe down with a damp sponge, and then a wipe down with the wax and grease remover. Then it'll be a light dust coat of the satin matte clear, and then a nice heavy coat of the satin. And that will be it. This is not before time, right?
Thought you'd be the one for me. Won't you tell me how you feel? I shared my dream with you until the morning. Everybody else have done it right. Coming out to see me try. As I turn away and cry, you run up to me and take my hand. I wish you were the one who made me whole. And I won't be turned
The other 4 panels, done.
Once again I'm on the run, far away from all the fun. It seems I'm bound to be away from you. I never
That satin matte finish really does look great. Well, to me anyway.
won't be turned.
As close to perfect as I'm happy with.
All I want to say.
It finally came to an end, everybody. Join me in the next episode where they go in and I can move on with other things. Woo! Please like, subscribe, hit that bell and share. I'd really appreciate that.